Britain's new Equality and Human Rights Commission took over the work of three former bodies: the Commission for Racial Equality, the Equal Opportunities Commission and the Disability Rights Commission on October the 1st last year. Its chairman, Trevor Phillips, came under the scrutiny of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Communities and Local Government for the first time this week, answering questions on migration and its effect on community cohesion.
The most important thing is to ensure that we understand exactly what is going on, and that we essentially regard migration and integration as two sides of the same process. There are many arguments about size and scale and all the rest of it, about migration, which you may want to get into, but essentially we think that the first point is that we can manage most migration. We think that most migration now is, broadly speaking, benign because it is economic. Humanitarian migration is actually a rather small part of the flow, but in itself we think that this is part of the British tradition and so on. So essentially, I suppose the answer to your question is that what we think we need to do is to make sure that we have a properly structured integration programme, that we do this explicitly, that we manage it alongside our migration programme, and that we, most of all, that we manage our integration programmes with regard to the kind of migration that is taking place today. And if I may just say one other sentence about this, there's a great deal of confusion, I think, amongst people about the nature of migration. Historically in this country we've had migration which is essentially post-colonial, comes in rather discrete ways, like the one of which my parents were a part, in the Caribbean or South Asia. Today we face a completely different sort of migration, many different groups of people coming at the same time, principally coming for work, not necessarily having had a previous connection with the UK, not necessarily speaking English, and by the way, not necessarily wanting to stay here for good.
Critics of the government's migration policy have claimed that some immigrants have been given priority access to social housing and other benefits ahead of UK-born citizens, but Mr. Phillips denied there was any evidence to support this.
We know that there are many areas in this country where it is said that somebody says that migrants get public services unfairly or ahead of people who are entitled because they've been paying the national insurance stamp and so on and so forth. Nowhere is this more prevalent than in the so-called let me be neutral, than in the arena of social and public housing, where it is said quite widely and believed quite widely that new migrants somehow, quote-unquote, jump the queue. My view about this is that there has never been any serious evidence produced to show that this is true. Anytime you ask somebody, it usually comes down to a bloke who said it to my friend in the pub.
The new commission aims to promote good community relations and combat discrimination of all kinds.